Hi and welcome to my channel. My name's Teresa and I'm the car boot crafter, and I thought I'd put the camera on because I'm in the middle of doing a project for me, something that I'm making for myself, and I thought it'd be great to share it. I don't know if anyone would be interested, but I thought I'd share it anyway. So what it is you know, we're all in the middle of this cost of living credit crunch, whatever you want to call it, and I've been trying to think of a way of getting a handle on my finances and keeping track of where my money's going. So I saw something on TikTok. They were selling a book that you had your receipts in and a little folder for, you know, your change, and then there was something else for keeping track of your money, you know, sort of logging how much you spent and where. And I was kind of thinking something along that lines, and then I was at my local card shop and I picked up 3 packs of these. I was going to make something with the grandchildren with it, but then when I opened it, they're actually separate cards. They're not a little book, which is I thought they were going to be. And then I kind of started thinking, and I've come up with this book that I'm making. I'm still in the middle of making it, so I can't show you what it looks like. But it's going to use up a serious amount of stash, especially my 12 by 12 papers, and some of my cards as well. So let me show you what it is. It's like an album, but it's kind of for receipts and keeping track of my money, basically. So you'll need 6 12 by 12 papers, and you're going to score and cut them all exactly the same. And so pop them in your scoreboard and score straight down the middle at 6. Like that. Flip it over and score at 6 the other side as well. Like that. And once you've done that, turn it. So now my score line's going across there, and you're going to score one end at 3.5. Flip it over and score at 3.5 again. Just reinforcing that, and that's all the scoring that we're doing. That's it. I can pop my scoreboard away, and that's going to be the easiest side, so I'll work on this side. And I'm just going to, I'm not even going to use my scoring tool. I'm just going to fold it like that, so that we've now got a 6 inch wide, and then once this is up, that'll be 6 by 8.5. Then grab your scissors, and where you've got the bottom part of your 6 inch score, so there's my 6 inch score, and I'm going to cut out the score mark from here, from this edge, just to that first score mark, because I want to make some little pockets. So grab your scissors and cut either side of the score mark, so you're not going through the middle of the score mark. And what we want to do is cut that score mark away. It'll just make it easier for us to fold in a minute. So just cut that away. So either side, then you'll have a little piece like that, which you're just going to cut away like that. That can go in the bin. Then then you'll need a hole punch, and it doesn't matter what hole punch you use. Hold on, that one's it's jammed. Typical. Let me see if I can open it. Let me pause you for a moment while I unjam. Okay, we're unjammed. So all you're going to do is do, well, I'm doing it by eye. Just cut out a little piece on both sides of these, the pockets, like that. And then I'm just going to put some distress ink. This is purely optional, but I just think, especially on papers like this, it just kind of gives you a nice kind of definition across there. So when I lay that down now, you can see that really well. And the same on this side. I'm just going to define that like that. Okay. Oh, and actually this one we want to do on the inside like that. There we go. So once we've done that, we're going to grab our glue, our narrow glue, and this one, so I'm going to fold it across like that. So it's going to fold in like that. So this one I'm going to glue down. I can get my glue to work. So just a little bit of glue to make this pocket. Like that. And just make sure that's all folded and that glue's got some connect to that one behind. So I've done that one. That's going to be on the inside. This one I want to fold on the outside. So just fold it up. That's why we double scored our papers. So, and this is going to get glued down exactly the same way, but on the outside of your paper. Okay, like that. Let's pop that out of the way. And again, reinforce those score lines down like that. And now what you've got, if I turn it round, so you've got the outside is blank. Open it up and you've got a little pocket, a blank page. Fold it over and you've got a pocket on the other side. That's a little bit on the wonk, but it's only for me, so I'm not that fussed. Let me move that out of the way. And then if you want to, you can carry on and ink all the way around your folder if you want to. I'm not going to do that because it's just going to take too much time. When you get to that point, you're going to do that 6 times. So you're going to get all those 6 pieces of 12 by 12 papers and you're going to fold them all in exactly the same way. I've done these 5 already. Next thing you're going to do for each one is you're going to stick your cards on. So on the pocket bit. So start with January and work your way through. Okay. The reason that is because you don't want to put March and then have nowhere for January to go. It makes sense in my head. So work your way through. This paper I wanted to be for March and April because it's very spring-like, and it was the last paper I folded, or was going to fold before I went, oh yeah, I could put this on a video, couldn't I? So anyway, so I'm just going to glue those down. So March comes first, so that's going to go under there. And each one of these then is going to be my finances for that month. So in March, all my receipts will go in that pocket. And I've got something I'm going to pop on there, which is going to be for me to keep an eye on what I'm spending and where. So that's March. This one's April. I hope this is making sense. It does in my head. So, and there's April. Okay. Once you've got to that, we now need our, how we're going to store our how we're going to mark and record our finances, which is this sheet here. So what I've done is I've got I bought this ledger last year, I think it was, at one of the, I don't know whether it was Car Boot or whether it was at one of the charity shops. And inside you've got all these wonderful pages, and I'm going to use it I probably still will use most of them for things like junk journals and that. But when I was thinking about what to use on that side, I thought, you know what, that works perfect. And that way I don't have to go printing or drawing up a whole load of whatever. If you've got one of these, have a look at it, see what you think, see what pages or what lines you want to keep. And if not, then a blank piece of paper that is going to work just as well. So let me show you how I've cut this. What I decided was I didn't want all these numbers down the side. So as you can see, there's a whole load of numbers down there. So I don't want those. There's 3 columns for numbers. So so that could be food, that could be household bills, that could be, I don't know, fun activities, whatever. But I didn't want to use all 3. I just want to use one. So what I'm going to do is this is how I'm cutting this one. Have a look at your own if you've got one, or you can buy some cheap ledgers, so you might be able to get something that will work. I would have suggested Wilkinson's, but sadly gone now. So, but there are other shops around. If not, then equally you could just use a piece of lined paper and put some lines down. So what I'm going to do is put the date here, the purchase there, and how much on this one. So I've chopped off all those numbers. I've chopped off the top because I want more of those than I do this blank bit at the top. Then I'm going to cut this to 5 inches wide, like that, and that gets rid of 2 of those columns as well. And then I want it 7.5 inches in length to fit on my in my little album thing. So that now measures 5 by 7.5. And then again, using up lots of stash, I've got some of this fairly cheap card. It's not very thick, but it's a lovely sort of blue colour, and I've cut it so I've got 2 out of each A4 sheet, because it's 5.5 by 8 inches. So I've managed to get 2 out of each, and I need 12 of them, so that's 6 sheets of this card used as well. And all I'm going to do, and I won't use that side, all I'm going to do is glue that in place like that. So it's got a little bit of a border. I'm only gluing the top, but do whatever you like. I'm using glue, but you could use double-sided tape, just as easy. And I'm just going to glue that down onto my blue card like that. And another reason why I just want to do the top is because I want this to last. I want to use this over you know, several years if I can. So what I'll do is I'll just take that off and keep that, and just buy some more of these cards and glue next year's ones on top of there. So these now go on the blank pages. So this is what we've just made, this little folio if you like. So I'm going to put one on this side and one on this side. So let's start with the front. So just a little bit of glue, doesn't have to be a whole ton of it. Like that, just to hold it down. And glue that on there. Like that. And I'll explain why it's at the front in a moment. Open it up, and I'm going to put one there. I've already got a couple done, so glue this down on the inside. Like that. except for January. You don't put one on the outside of January, but you could do if you wanted. So that's going to go on there like that. So as I buy something, or when I come back home from a shopping trip, I'll bring it back in March and I'll put all my receipts in there. Then I'll put the date on here, what I've bought and how much it costs, so I can keep a track on what I'm spending. Okay, so that's that. And I've done it 6 times. Let me show you where we're at. So now the reason you don't do January, because that's going to be the outside, so you open it up and you start with January there, and that's where the finances and the receipts go for January. Finances on there. Open that up. So now we've got February. So let me just flip this around the right way. So that's February, and in the middle we've got March. So February receipts go in here, and then February list of what I've spent and where I've spent it go on there. Then March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November and December. Not quite finished. We will get a sheet for December, but what we're going to do is we're going to do some covers for this. So there's going to be a cover for the outside. Now the way I've done this is I'm going to use rings like this to do it. So what I want is a front cover and a back cover. I've already done my back cover, so let me show you my front cover. So you'll start off with a piece of chipboard that's 6 1/4 inches by 9 inches, and a piece of patterned paper. So I'm using that side, patterned paper, which is 7 1/2 inches across by 10 inches in length, and all I'm going to do is glue that on there. So let me get my glue out and glue that down. So there's a lot to do and it's very repetitive, and you do use a lot of your stash. So if you've got any ugly double-sided papers, or even single-sided, that you want to use up, or if you're stash busting, and I'm going to try and bust some stash this year, seriously. I need to finish off some of the paper pads that I've got, because they've been hanging around for a long time. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this at an angle. I have got one of those fancy metal things with all the, you know, the corner slots and everything. I can't find it, so I'm just going to do it. First, I always do this, is I cut too far away. What you're aiming to do is to come about 1/8 of an inch away, but I could never get that the first time, so I'm going to come and do it. I know that's too far, but I'd rather be too far than too close. So I then come in fraction bit more, and that now is close enough. It just works for me. I don't know if it's going to work for anybody else, but this is the way that I find it kind of works the easiest for me. Come too far and then come back in if you need to. Just a fraction. I don't know, just the way my brain seems to work with these now. So come back in just a fraction, and sometimes I'll go in 2 and 3 times, just because, you know, I don't want to get too close. So use your bone folder, whatever tool you've got, just to break up the fibres down the edge of your chipboard like that. Just makes it a little bit easier to fold like that. Then bit of glue or double-sided tape, whatever works for you, and fold it over. I really do like this paper. The words are really nice on there. It talks about a very independent woman who turns weaknesses into strengths and things, you know, positives into her strengths. So yeah, it's a really nice paper. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to use it to make something for me. So, and I do like to use my bone folder just to push that glue into the chipboard and spread it a little bit. It does spread the glue a little bit over the chipboard. So try not to use too much if you can, but do get your bone folder and just, because we folded over, just push that down right next to the chipboard. It just kind of helps tuck things in a little bit. So that all comes across like that. And again, using your bone folder, push that glue into the chipboard and the paper. Let's do that first this time. And this end just seems to help the paper to kind of know where it's got to go. Like that. Fold that over. And it helps as well to kind of reinforce that fold on your papers. So once you've got to that point, try and keep everything flat. This isn't especially thick chipboard. I think it's off the back of a notebook or something. Then get yourself some paper to cover that. Now this measures 8 3/4 by 6 inches across, and that's just going to fit nicely over there. So I'm not going to use a ton of glue on this. I just want to get those edges a little bit in the middle. So, it's quite a textured paper as well, as I'm sure you can hear as I'm putting the glue down. So I'm hoping it sticks well. Put some glue across the middle as well to hold it. I'm going to use a bit more glue in the middle bit, as my as I use the bone folder, that will just spread it out a little bit as well. Pop that over, line it all up like that, and then push down with your bone folder again, so that all of your papers adhered to the chipboard or to that base paper that we've already got. I like to turn it over and push down as well. Yeah, so this paper says things like she sacrificed what was very good and turned them into strengths. She filled her life with things that were beautiful, enjoyed every step of her journey. It's a really inspiring paper. And I want to now put some holes in so that I can use these rings. So the way I do it is I get a piece of chip card that is the same length as my as what I'm trying to put the holes in. So in this case it's the cover for this little financial album, if you like. Then what I do is I will push that together like that so that it is whole, and then I will line it up on the edge of my card, and so that it's about halfway and then I'll just nudge it over a little bit, and then I will use a pen or something to mark in there like that, and then I'll just, usually by eye, draw a line. Then I'll measure, so this is 9 inches, so halfway is 4.5, so I put a mark on that line at 4.5. For this one I've come down 1.5 inches there and 1.5 inches there, put a mark, and then I've used my crocodile to cut out 3 holes. Now I'm using 3, you can use 2, you can use whatever you like. If you've got one of those what are they, bindy tools, you could use that instead. Whatever works for you. So I've got this now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it over so I'm on the inside. So this now is my template. So I'm lining it up top, bottom and against this edge, and depending on, you know, how confident you are with your crocodile, I prefer to come in and draw a circle like that, and those then I will use my crocodile to cut out. This is still damp, so I'm not going to do it straight away, but I have marked them there, so I'm going to pop it there to dry while I then do the rest of them. So this one I've already done, so as you can hopefully see through the blue of my craft mat, you can see through those holes which lined up lovely with that. Okay, now these I want to do exactly the same. But obviously if I try and line that up on there, it's the wrong size. So what I'm going to do is I will take one of them, I'm going to line this up on here like that, then I'm going to line this up. What I want to do is look top and bottom and line it up on here. I'll bring it down to that line so that I know that these holes are going to be well within the inserts, if you like. So I've looked, I'm about 1/4 inch top and bottom, so I'm going to make a line on here, top and bottom of there, so that I can see that then is the size of my inserts. And I'm going to, because I'm not going to use this again, so I'm going to cut that off, top and bottom. So chuck that away, and now there we go, I can line it up. Let's move that one out the way. I can line it up on these, and that then should line up beautifully. If it doesn't, come back in with your scissors. So line this edge. This is the edge that I'm kind of, maybe if I put an arrow on like that, this is the edge I'm using, so I'm lining it up with the folded edge. So there's my opening, lining it up on that folded edge like that. Hope this makes sense. If it doesn't, do leave me a question below and hopefully I can come back in and answer it for you. And again, I'm going to draw my circles in, come back in with my crocodile. 1, oop, that bounced. 2, let's line that up, and 3, because I'm trying to stay in camera shot, I'm a little bit further than I would normally do it. So 3, there we go. So there's them 3. And that then should now line up with December on the back there, like that, so that when I then put these through, that's going to hold it. So I'm going to carry on and do the rest of them. So I'm going to put you on pause for a sec while I do the rest. Right, so I've done all of those now. They've all got their hole punches in. I'm coming back. You remember I marked these already? So I'm just going to punch those out as well. Get the right side. This is not quite dry, but it's hopefully dry enough now that I can punch it out without any problems. Crocodile does end up getting rather clogged, and I need to be able to see through it to get those that's why I put you on pause, because it takes forever, because I need to see through it to be able to line that up well. There we go. So that's all done as well now. Let's pop that to one side. So now I've got my front. Let's make sure I've got all these in the right order, which I haven't quite. So where's my January gone? So I've lost me January. Is that me January? Yes, there's January and February, so that goes on top there. So there's my front, there's my January, February. This is my March and April. This is my May and June. This is my July and August. This is my October, September and October. And this then is my November and December. Make sure that you put your holes on the fold there. That goes like that, and then this one will go on top of there. So before you do, hopefully you should still have one of these if you've done a complete dozen. So that then is going to get glued onto there like that. So let's do all round those edges. And because this card is quite smooth, it doesn't need a lot of glue on it. That then goes on there like that. Just being really careful not to go over those holes there. So I'm just going to go slightly to one side. I should have glued that down before I did the holes, but I was thinking, by the time I got to there, I was thinking of the video. So that one then will go on there like that. So now what I'm going to do is bring in these and start threading it through. Just start with this one because it opens a bit wider. I'm just going to start threading them on. Hopefully in the right order as well now. A little bit caggy handed doing it like this. You can do them, I'm doing them one at a time, but you can try and do them all together if that works for you. Just works easier